Welcome back, everybody. My name is Kevin. It's so good to be here with you from beautiful St. Louis, the lake that I've been enjoying spending my time with you. Now then, if you could go back and ask the narcissistic people that you've dealt with why they were so rageful, why they were so hateful, why they were yelling, screaming, cussing, throwing things at you, doing what narcissistic people do, chances are you're going to be met with one of two different responses. The first response being, well, I don't remember ever doing that. I did that. I would never do that. I always treat people with respect. I'm loving. I'm kind. What did you do to make me like that, right? We could take that response, crumble it up in our hand, and throw it out like the bullshit that it is, because that, of course, is narcissistic people lacking accountability, doing anything they can to avoid any type of accountability in this life. The second possible response is going to sound more like this. I was having a really dark moment in my life during that time. Dark moment? I mean, we're talking days, weeks, months, even years of nasty rage. That ain't a dark moment, my friend. That's more like the dark age. That's the dark ages that narcissistic people are living in. To them, half their life is but a moment, apparently. But what if, just what if, there is a hint of truth? What if narcissistic people are attempting to be genuine in telling you that they were experiencing a dark time in their life? Now, many of you are going to say, Kevin, it's bullshit. I know this because we all have dark times. I know I've had dark times too. But that doesn't mean we walk around abusing other people and raging everywhere. But this gets into the difference between you as an empath and them as a narcissist. And the most valuable aspect of this message that you're going to receive is understanding a huge difference between you as an empath and them as a narcissist, which is going to solidify why you can never, and I repeat, never have an intimate relationship or a family relationship with narcissistic people. Not so long as you're an empath, because of the difference in how you operate mentally. Let's get into this. My name is Kevin, and this is Now, before I do continue, let me remind you that I'm here to support you. I take telephone calls and video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. Down below in the description box, you can schedule one-on-one time with me. I'm here to walk with you to help you break the chains of toxic relationship dynamics with your family, with a husband, a wife, coworkers, or friends. Also, the Rowie does have a private membership available for you where you can get daily live support from me with a growing community of people from all over the world. We do have weekly fellowship. We have weekly Zoom calls and so much more on the privacy of a members-only app. So you can download the membership app down below in the description box. Head on down there. I'd love to see you in class. Now then, when I was dealing with the toxic narcissistic in-laws, obviously, during their rageful episodes, I didn't get much answers. Anytime I would try to ask what's going on, why are you acting this way, I was met with what many of you are met with by narcissistic people, which is, oh, you're selfish and you're toxic and you're judgmental and this and that and you know, I'm not going to argue with you and here we go again and all this nonsense. Okay, whatever, right? Backed out. I distanced myself. But here's the thing when you distance yourself. When you distance yourself from toxic narcissistic people, it doesn't offer any closure now, doesn't it? You leave with a lot of questions. You still desire to know what in the world took place. What happened? What was all that rage about? Things were good up to a point, and then suddenly, boom, wham, you changed into beast mode and you never went back, right? Living in the dark ages. Well, when I went back and I did confront the toxic narcissistic in-laws after the fact, trying to get some answers, trying to find a little bit of closure. By the way, I don't recommend anybody doing this. I did this so that I can share my insights with you so you don't have to. And I'm going to share with you exactly the response that I got from dealing with toxic narcissistic in-laws after the fact. Of course, I got the first response, which was, I don't remember saying any of those things, Kevin. I don't know. I don't remember. Do you remember? Do you remember, Kevin, what you did to maybe cause that? And right, of course, that's what narcissistic people do to avoid accountability. But through prayer and through caution, I pressed in even further. I said, you know, this, and the other, and this is what was said. And I even showed some messages, right? Why did you say this? Why did you send me this message? Okay. And this was this response that I got from this particular narcissistic in-law. They said, Kevin, you know, all I know is that at that point in my life, it was a really difficult time. It was a dark moment in my life. I literally, word for word, it was a dark moment in my life. I was having a really hard time and on and on and on. Almost like a victim crying, right? They became the victim. I was having a dark moment. Oh, and I also heard this, hurt people, which is a part of this. Okay, this is a narcissistic slogan, hurt people, hurt people. That's what narcissists use to justify their bad behavior. But then this in-law said something else. And it forever stuck inside of me to help me to understand the difference between narcissists and empaths. And this person said, Kevin, I do believe that a person can only meet you where they're at. I paused for a moment. I was thinking about this. A person can only meet you where they are at. And as I think about this, and I've wrestled with this, it strikes me as quite possibly the most selfish, self-centered thing I've ever heard in my life. I mean, could you imagine if all of us just walked around just meeting other people where we're at? But it explains a lot, right? And here's what I mean, because we all have bad days, do we not? We all have bad days at work. We all get cut off on the freeway. We all have issues. We all have bills. We all have struggles. We all have frustrations in this life. Could you imagine if we all walked around just living out of where we're at? But we don't. And see, this is where we're going to get into the huge difference now between narcissistic people and empathic people. You see, I believe that narcissistic people do operate out of wherever they're at any given moment. This is a part of their inherent selfishness, their self-centeredness. They're not able to meet other people where those people are at. They can only meet people where they themselves are at. No matter what's taking place in their life, they have a bad day at work, they get cut off on the freeway, they got cussed out by somebody at work, something bad happens, they're stressed out. Well, guess what? They now operate in their relationships out of that place so that they make sure everybody gets to share in their misery. This is exactly what the narcissistic in-law basically admitted to me. And by the way, this person was adamant. This person said, Kevin, I truly believe we can only meet people where we're at. Said it with such conviction. And I understand now. I get it. Wow. Okay. So your bad day means that you can only meet people out of your bad day. This, my friends, is how narcissists live. They are only capable of meeting you out of their bad day or whatever's frustrating them or whatever's angering them. You don't matter. Your wants, your needs don't matter. They're only able to operate out of what they are experiencing. Now, this, by the way, is mind-blowing to me because it is the opposite of empathic people. It's a completely different operating system. It's as different as Apple Macintosh is from, Bill Gates computers, Windows PC, completely different operating systems. As an empathic person, I could say with 100% certainty that we do not operate out of our experiences throughout the day. We do not meet people where we are at as empaths. We meet people where the other people are at. We meet other people where they're at. Does this make sense? I could be having the worst day ever. Most empathic people are like this. We could lose our job, lose a boyfriend, lose a girlfriend, whatever the case may be, house catch fire, whatever, but still go on, meet somebody, and meet them where they're at. Meaning if they're joyful, if they're peaceful, we're going to warm right up to that and talk with them. And we will match that energy. Because as empathic people, we are not inherently selfish and self-centered and think that everybody has to share in our drama and our rage and our anger at any given moment. That's how narcissistic people operate because of their lack of empathy. This is a significant, profound understanding of the difference between an empath and a narcissistic person. You see, only narcissists operate out of that churchy slogan, hurt people, hurt people. Yes, I've heard Mark Driscoll talk about that. But then again, Mark Driscoll was also kicked out of a church because he's a narcissistic douchebag for the most part. So it makes sense that he would say, hurt people, hurt people. He's operating out of that mentality of, hey, if I'm angry and I'm having a bad day, well, then I'm going to make sure somebody else has a bad day too. And I think that he treated a whole entire church like that, right? True empathic people do not. Again, an empathic person could have a bad day, horrible day, house catch fire, lose job, whatever, and they're still going to go and meet another person where that person's at. Does this make sense? This is a huge difference, a profound difference, and that's the whole point of this message that I want you to walk away with, because this is key. This is why you cannot have an intimate connection with toxic family, narcissistic, whether they're family members, a husband or a wife. If there's any intimacy involved, if they live out of this place of, I can only meet you where I'm at any given moment, well, that means if they have a bad day, well, guess what? They're going to make sure you have a bad day. If they're frustrated or they've been hurt, well, guess what? They're going to take it out on you, and you're going to be hurt. As opposed to an empathic person who, no matter what they've gone through, they're going to still come and meet you where you're at. So you deserve somebody in your life who's equally as empathic, right? So if you're having a bad day, you could still meet them where they're at, and they're going to share that positive energy with you, and vice versa. If they're having a bad day, right, they can meet you where you're at, hopefully positive, and you can lift each other up. Huge difference, profound difference. I believe that when we hear toxic or narcissistic people say, listen, hurt people, you can only meet people where you're at, believe them. This is how their narcissistic brains operate. That's it. So they get cut off on the road, best believe they're going to come and take it out on you. They're going to share with you that experience because of that inherent selfishness, right? Because they're meeting you where they're at, as opposed to meeting you where you're at. As I said before, I'm here to support you. Schedule some one-on-one time with me. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you don't miss any future videos, and I'll be back right here on The Royal We.